It's part of America. You go to Hawaii, and there's a tremendous, very strong influence of Samoan. You have to absolutely respect their culture. And so if that were any other country, you have to first respect that individual's culture and their upbringing. And I think that once you respect that, I think it kind of helps builds lines of communication. But along the way, there's got to be ways that we as leaders break down the barriers between, cultural diversity, how we break down race. I think it will only happen at the top. And I guess my point is, you want to have to first respect somebody's position. I think then you have to be morally comfortable with yourself and how you handle it, and then maybe you can break down and communicate to one another and have what I would call a mutually beneficial relationship. Key to dysfunctional things that you discussed was, I think, communication. If the organization from the top management all the way down, and I hate to use that as an analogy, I really like the Nordstrom's analogy where they put the shareholders on the bottom and the CEO, and then they do an inverse org chart, and then the customers are up here and the employees are here. But having used that organizational structure, what I would say is that communication is key. You have to communicate with one another, and everybody on your team, whether you have 30 employees or 150 employees, they absolutely have to know what the mission and the goals are and the products and services of the company. They have to know that. Once they know that would be step one. There's no question about that. Communication is absolutely key. And I think the other thing as a CEO is we try to, in addition to providing communication, I think we try to deliver in our culture a vehicle in which we share our financials with all of our employees, those kinds of things. You always hear from the CEO about the good stuff, but what's the dirty laundry look like? Do we have any lawsuits? Do we have any customer challenges? Do we have any financial challenges, legal challenges? And I think that over time, the openness that you provide, and of course you have to manage the communication, but that piece of information that you provide to those employees is so valuable in earning trust. Each leader in our organization has a core team, and again, that could be finance or marketing, regulatory, legal. There's a number of areas that every company operates with. I would say that to try to keep the teams integrated, one of the things that we do is, if you are a leader or a CEO of our company, you may manage the marketing team, you may manage the financial team if you're the CFO. And across the leadership team, once a week, we have a conference call and we update every team member on all core areas of the business on a conference call, because we're in different states, different time zones. Once a month, we provide PowerPoint presentations on those very core teams to one another in a real-time, face-to-face interaction. And we'll do that in markets that we've not been in. So we don't necessarily always do it at the home office or the corporate office. We'll do it in other locations. So we try to make sure that, again, the level of communication is there, which I think delivers trust and really kind of integrates the team. The last thing I'll say to that, and people think this is a little odd, is I'll actually bring a facilitator in, and we'll ask 3 or 4 kind of really tough questions as a leader, and the rest of the individuals in the room get to listen to that. So here I'll give you a scenario that I ran into at one company, Nextlink, which was a Craig McCaw company in Seattle. They'd ask something really silly like, what's your favorite food? Okay, now we're talking CEOs, CFOs, CIOs. I think there was 10 members, 10 senior management folks. And this is a vehicle where you can get to know your partner a little bit better, or your coworker. You'll ask you something like, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite sports team? Then they'll get into some deeper questions. What childhood experience happened in your life that made you the person that you are today? There are some people that went to college and dropped out. There are other people that have taken different career paths and end up in telecom. The point of these stories is, and when you talk about integration, it's a vehicle that really brings you together, is that I now know you, Mark, better than I knew you before. And you know a little bit about something about me, and there's this kind of mutual trust in there to say, I always wondered why X John Doe or Jane Doe, kind of perform the way that they did, or why they always felt they were underachieving. And now in your mind, you know the answer to that story. And the first thing that's there is trust. They trust that you're not going to bring that anywhere else. The second thing that's there is that you know now how to manage them a little bit differently, because they opened up to you and provided you something about their lives. And some companies aren't comfortable with that. Others are. It's done wonders for our company, because I think we know now what makes each other tick, and it builds the trust and integrity between the lines of senior management. It's built in our culture. We have our kind of our own mission statement, and regardless of the markets we're in, we always expect to give back to the community. So as an example, I will tell you that, many years in my experience, I've built fiber optic networks in Yakima, Washington, Bellingham, Billings, Montana. I mean, that's Northwest related. But by doing that, the ultimate goal is to leave one of those communities better technology-wise than they were when we came there. And so you'll see in our mission statement as our organization that there's this kind of monetary value that all companies like to accomplish, and that's profitability. But at the end of the day, there must be something deeper that we, as we're in our 70s and 80s, and we're getting towards the end of our life, we can hang our hat on the fact that we as a team, we made a living. But more importantly, if you go back to Billings, Montana today, they're still using that fiber optic network that we built for education, for nonprofit, a lot of other kind of economic development sort of things. So it's inherent in our culture. It's really part of what we really want to do. It's a bigger picture thinking. But you see many businesses, if the first line of responsibility to their shareholders is absolutely money or monetary value, you can see right through that. And I think it takes a little longer, but if you can sit back and develop a culture that supports, giving back to those communities, it'll come back to you 2 and 3 times fold. Plus, at the end of our lives, or end of the day, we'll feel good about ourselves. That as a leader, I may do a few things with our senior management group on, let's just say, a personal note. Maybe there's a community event or something like that. But there are very few things that I will do in kind of a couple setting with our employees. Not because I don't want to, because you kind of have to draw the line of communication in the sand in terms of, you want to be a friend, you want to be a peer, you want to be a mentor to your employees, but you also have a fiscal responsibility to the shareholders. And whether that be myself, because I own a good portion of the company, or the other minority shareholders we have, at the end of the day, I have a responsibility to those folks. How I go about it and the ethics and how I manage our company is one thing. But I do have a responsibility to make safe and appropriate and prudent decisions. So I really believe that there is a very gray area of, on one side of it is authoritative, if you will. There's an authority position that I play, and at some point I'm willing to soak up all the information I can, but everybody has to understand at the end of the day, it's my call and I have to make the decision. How you balance that will probably depend on some of your success, both with your employees and your shareholders. It's a delicate balance. Over the years, we do have educational seminars to further educate our folks. We have credit or monetary credits available for those who want to go to college or further education. So we try to do those things. And the other thing you'll find in our culture and mission statement is that it's not just a job. In fact, if you're looking for a job, probably 180 is not the place for you. If you're looking for a career, those are the kind of people that we really want, because those kind of people always want to better themselves. And I will tell you that there are a number of people in our company that have started in kind of what I would call an entry-level position and have grown over the years and taken on more authority and moved into middle management or senior management. So we do have a number of those successes, and we try to do that. We want people to know that those opportunities are there. I hire as much for education as I do for attitude and aptitude.